Hello, everyone. We are very happy to have you here in our last interview for Peaceland of the year. And we are very honored to have Mrs. Mary Lou, who is a songwriter and a musician that is now making history with her new single, Not Going Back, a song that really marks deep down to the person that listens to it. You already have it in the description of the video. And Mary Lou, we are honored to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be with you and with everyone who's watching in Peaceland, which is such a beautiful place to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, the new initiative of UNESCO Center for Peace. And we have been working on it for 6 months. So you being part of it is an honor for us to be your guest. So, Mrs. Mary Lou, I would very much love for us to start with you telling us about yourself. So, reading your bio in your website, notgoingback.org, I I found that you are a storyteller who became a songwriter, and that you have influences from your hometown in Yuma, Arizona. So, I would love for us to know what has been the main influence in your music.
Well, I started songwriting just a few years ago, and it brought together two things that I have loved my whole life. I've loved writing. I've been a writer for a long time, a journalist. I worked at the Los Angeles Times and in other media outlets, and I love telling stories of people and communities, of their struggles and their victories, and through those stories, helping us get to know one another and see one another as human beings. And I've always loved doing that. And at the same time, I've been singing. Since I was a little girl, I sang and I played the piano. I sang with my father's band. He was a country musician in Yuma. And I have also sung in choirs in school and throughout my whole life. And so a few years ago, it occurred to me that I should put those two things together. And I began writing my own music. And Not Going Back is the first song that I released. And it's such an honor to know that it has reached people across the nation, reached you. And I was very honored to have the song win a national songwriting contest for Songs for Social Change, and to feel that I was having impact. Because for me, songwriting is, it's an act of conscience. It's an act of social conscience. And the music that I write and that I'm interested in is about the world. It's about the world that we live in, the times that we're living through, how we can understand what we're living through, and be inspired to make this world a better and more just place.
Absolutely. And truly what I I think is the highlight of the song and this campaign that you've launched is principally that having social change and really for it to go beyond doing public policy or for example with the situation in the United States and the complexity of for example the policies that really do not align with values of respect and overall having dignity as human beings.
Yeah.
So for us to have that as a reminder, and not only as a reminder, but as a call to action, I think that is what may be most valuable about the song.
Thank you so much. Well, I always think about songs as stories. And for me, Not Going Back tells the story of America and other countries and the battle of ideas that we are in right now about what the future should be, about how we find our way forward. And here and around the world, there are many people who think that the way forward is to go backward, to turn back the clock, to go back to those good old days. Well, I don't know when exactly those were, but I can tell you as I thought about that, I thought, well, gosh, those days, they weren't so good for women. They weren't so good for immigrants like my mother, who's an immigrant from Mexico, and for many other people who are still struggling for justice and for equality. It's an insult to say that we should turn back the clock and go back to those good old days, because those were the days when we were silenced. And so I wanted to call that out in this song, and I wanted to challenge us to really not fall prey to that idea, that fake nostalgia, and instead really just think that we need to move forward and to be proud and to take pride in the progress that we've made so far. And there's so much more to go, and to remind us of that and to help us to keep pushing forward, because we've made progress, but there's so much more work to do.
Exactly. And I do agree with that, because there's the idea that the good old days were days in which everything was in order and our policies really search for the well-being and the protection of human rights of every single one in the population, which is really a mistaken idea. And yeah, I do agree that, well, for I'm from Mexico, so I am flattered that your mom is also Mexican.
Yes.
And I definitely agree with it, because we need to go forward and take into consideration those core values that formed us as a society. But as you mentioned, they need to be transformed, and that's the message of the song. Because we cannot remain, for example, the movement of Black Lives Matter was evidence that we need change, and that change is already happening, even though our leaders do not reflect it.
Yes, and we have to understand that we, the people, have the power if we come together, right? We have to stop seeing each other as the enemy, stop seeing each other as people who are taking things away from each other, and recognize that if we come together in service of what is good for all of us, we are powerful and we will prevail. And I think the Black Lives Matter movement is so inspiring and encouraging. It did not come out of nowhere, because as we know, people of color, particularly Black people, have been oppressed for a long, long time. It's nothing new. But what happened is that it entered the consciousness in a new way. Unfortunately, because of the murder of George Floyd and so many others, and the injustice was undeniable. And so when we get to those moments when the injustice is undeniable and we all come together, we can see that we really make a difference. And so that the video for my song Not Going Back really is I think of it as a love letter to organizers and political movement leaders in the US who have been fighting for such a long time for justice for all of us. And I think in those moments when we feel discouraged, and it can be discouraging these days at times, we need to remember that we have come a long way, and we still have a long way to go, but we're building on so much progress, and that we can do it if we come together.
I love the term of love letter. I love that.
That's how I feel about it. I really feel great love and admiration for all of those who made sacrifices so that you and I, as women, and so many others, have a voice and a platform that we didn't have before. I mean, just in my lifetime, in the United States, women didn't used to even have the right to their own credit history, right? They were considered the property of men, and when a marriage ended, a woman was sort of stuck with whatever her spouse had done financially over the years and didn't have the right to that economic independence. And of course, we're still fighting over the right to control our own bodies and destiny in many ways. But all of these struggles are connected. And I think we have to see that and appreciate that we're building on the work and the struggles of so many other people. We're standing on their shoulders, and we should all celebrate and thank them for what they have done to allow us to be who we are today.
Exactly. And now I would want to get into something that is really special for me, and that I really haven't seen, which is that you published the music sheet for people to recreate the song, for them to sing with you, and for the movement to start growing, and for its impact to even be bigger to what it is today. So, could you tell us, please, a little bit about it?
Yes, I would love to. Well, music has always been a part of social change and social justice movements throughout history. And many times when we come together in support of social change, we sing, right? We want to hear each other. We want to shout together and sing together. And so with Not Going Back, I had always dreamed of hearing many people sing the song together. And to help make that happen, the director of my choir, the women's choir that I sing in, she created a choir arrangement and music that I make available to anybody who writes me and asks for it for free. And it's my hope once COVID passes and we can sing together in public again, that this song will be sung. I've sent it to social justice choirs who have asked for it. I was very moved that a woman who works with older people who are suffering from Alzheimer's and memory loss, she asked me for the music because she said that music really is a very important part of healing for older people, and that they're still very politically engaged and would love to sing this song. So I hope one day I'll get to see a video of those elders singing together, and one day that my choir will be able to sing the song. We had planned to do that in June before COVID, and of course we're not able to perform right now. But I look forward to the day when we can, because there is just nothing to me that would be more glorious than hearing many, many voices together singing "We're Not Going Back."
Exactly. And also for people to know they can reach out to you through your website, right?
Yes, through notgoingback.org. There's a link. You can click on that. Just send me a note, and I will email you the music. And it would be an honor to know that the song was reaching people in all corners of the world and have meaning for them.
Perfect. That is just amazing. Also, the link of the song and of your website is on the description of this video, so for people to reach out to you and for them to sing with you. And I really hope that after COVID, choirs can get together and for your dream to be fulfilled.
I hope so too. I really miss singing, particularly singing with other people. There is just nothing like it. You know, the human voice is a powerful, powerful instrument, more powerful when we sing together. And I look forward to, and I pray that in 2021 we will be able to do that again.
Absolutely. I hope so too. And I hope that our viewers really take this as not something for granted, but as an honor to be part of this now international choir. And Mrs. Mary Lou, I am so happy for us to be able to have you here, for your presence, the message, your inspiration for it. I know that it's so deep, and overall for it to be a message of hope, the hope that we need. And I know that with the changes that are coming, we have a brighter future than we expect.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for all the work that you do for people around the world, for children, and so many others who need your strong advocacy and support. So I'm honored to be in your community, and welcome to the community. And I hope that I will continue to be a part of it.
Of course. Thank you so much, Mrs. Marilu. We are reaching the end of the interview. Thank you, everyone, for being part of this interview. We will encourage you to be part of the moment, for you to really sing with Mrs. Marilu. And I know that 2021 is awaiting with great surprises for you.
Thank you so much. I look forward to singing with everyone next year.
Thank you very much. Goodbye,